world of nuclear. So we, the two of us, can brag that we know a lot about nuclear. She and I know something about nuclear, and we were planning to have a nuclear plant around here in Migori. But right now we prefer solar, because solar is less cumbersome, it's less, it's easy to handle. I want to appreciate our partners, FAO. I want to appreciate our other development partners and the sponsors and supporters who are here, including leadership of county assemblies and members, honorable members of county assembly, and also delegations from various governments that are attending this one. I want to just make a few remarks. Migori County is a beautiful county. It is a county that has immense potential that, if properly managed, will be able to help the economy of this nation and its own economy to grow into a huge potential that can make this nation take off. Migori County is a county in this region, and most counties just look like Migori County. If you go to Kisii, you will find the same kind of people and the same kind of soil and environment. Homa Bay, Kisumu, Siaya. So when we meet in Migori County, it is a reminder to me and a reminder to all of us that if we come together, identify what we can do collectively and individually, will grow by leaps and bounds. So I want to thank all of us for identifying Migori County so that you get to know it and you get to understand that Migori County just looks like the counties where you come from. I want to request that this should not be your last visit. This is just your first visit. We offer many opportunities for investment, and we want to give preference to yourselves. So as we hold our deliberations today, you can take time and hang around with us tomorrow and the day after tomorrow. You might get something to invest on, including investing in love. Love with the land and love with the people. And also gold, because we have gold here. So I want to welcome you to this place of plenty, to this place of diversity, where we live together, where we live in harmony, and where growth should be accelerated. I do not want to take any more of our time, but I want to thank you once more for your presence here, and also promise that this evening, for those who are not here last evening, will be better, will be warmer and softer. So when you have a combination of warmth and softness, I think you will be a happy person in your heart. We will not place you between the rock and a hard place. We will place you between a warm and a soft place. So you are all welcome to be with us this evening and tomorrow and the days that follow those days that I've mentioned. I will now take this opportunity to request, with the leave of the chair, that the vice chair of this very wonderful block that has the potential of taking care of this nation. I hear as mentioning that we have a population of 14 million. No, we have a bigger population. If you take the Nyamira and Kisii region, that's 3 million. The Lower Nyanza region, that is 6 million. The Western Kenya region, that is 7 million. Trans Nzoia, Nandi, Kericho and Bomet, that's almost 4 million. If you add that, half of the Kenyan population is represented by the 14 counties that we talk about. So the Vice Chair, the Speaker Emeritus, Ken Makelo Lusaka, this is now your opportunity to come and give us your address and take us to the next level. Let us put our hands together for the Speaker Emeritus all the way from Bungoma to come and take over from where I'm living. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, our Chair, Professor Peter Nyang-Nyong, colleague governors, and allow me to adopt the protocols as observed by my predecessor speakers in the interest of time. Before I make very few remarks, allow me first to invite our Permanent Secretary, Madam Teresia Mbaika, from the State Department of Devolution to come and make a few remarks, and I'll take over from there. Karibu sana.
Thank you, Vice Chair. I think I'm already falling in love with the place and the people. The Chair of the Summit and the Governor for Kisumu County, the Deputy, the Governors present, the Deputy Governors, the County Government leadership, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Teresia Mbaika from the Executive Office of the President, Office of the Deputy President, Principal Secretary, State Department for Devolution. It gives me pleasure to be part of the leadership attending the 11th Summit of the Lake Region Economic Bloc and to address the participants. I must commend the leadership of this bloc for concerted effort and able leadership which has seen this bloc overcome myriads of challenges to reach where it is today. Honorable members, the theme of today's summit resonates very well with the agenda of the Kenya Kwanza government of climate change adaptation. The State Department for Devolution intends to work very closely with you and build your capacity to harness the blue economy resources for sustainable development, a call which is at the heart of Kenya Vision 2030 and the UN SDG goal number 17. The bloc was established to facilitate optimum but sustainable utilization of shared resources to accelerate socio-economic transformation of the people. The Lake Region Economic Bloc, comprising of 14 counties and over 10 million people, is abundantly endowed with various resources, including Lake Victoria, rivers, and various water towers. Cooperation in the exploitation of these resources while conserving the environment will go a long way in ensuring sustainable development for immediate consumption as well as for our future generation. This summit will go a long way in strengthening the region's capacity in harnessing blue economy resources and enhancing climate change resilience. As you are aware, the blue economy concept seeks to promote economic growth, social inclusion, and the preservation or improvement of livelihoods, while at the same time ensuring environmental sustainability of the ocean's coastal areas and the inland water bodies. Honorable governors, ladies and gentlemen, great potential exists in this region for blue economy sectors, especially fisheries, tourism, transport, and renewable energy in the job creation and overall economic growth. Challenges, however, abound that may limit the region from benefiting from these benefits. These challenges emanate from, among others, climate change, inadequate planning, as well as lack of funds. The national government will work with you and support you to overcome those challenges. Ladies and gentlemen, it is worthwhile to note that the former president had asked the Minister of Devolution then to come up with a policy to help operationalize the economic blocks, but due to unforeseen challenges, this policy did not see the light of the day. I want to assure you that the Kenya Kwanza administration We deliver on this policy and provide support where necessary in the operationalization of all the blocks in the country. The reviewed MTP4, which has 7 pillars on devolution, will go a long way to help the State Department for Devolution to build capacity and support to the county governments. The core of this summit is the subnational climate change program, which will focus on strengthening collaborations between the subnationals and the national goals in combating effects of climate change and transforming cities to achieve shared prosperity and climate safety. The program will address the need to rethink the current strategies aimed at cascading and localization initiatives at subnational level. The State Department for Devolution has developed County Performance Acceleration Program, which is awaiting approval by the National Treasury. This program is designed to build on the lessons learned in devolved system of government and the increasing awareness of the need for both levels of government and the private sector to coordinate to develop Kenya's enormous potential at the county level. The program expects to attract resources from private sector, development partners, both levels of government and, where visible, financial and capital markets, and enable counties build on their successes and improve their performance for better service delivery. Other programs by the State Department for Devolution geared towards capacity building in the counties include the Urban Areas and Cities Program, County Economic Transformation and Growth, the Intergovernmental Relations Management and Support Program, County Public Service Management Program, Policy, Legal and Institutional Reforms. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, let me assure you of the government commitment to ensuring that devolution works as exemplified by the various programs in its medium-term plan. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. At least you have had that assurance from the national government. Mine will be very brief. First, I want to confirm that yesterday evening was very good. Just like stated by our host, I was part of the team that made it look very good. I'm sure Senior Counsel James Orengo knows what I'm talking about. So today I think it will even be better. But on a more serious note, I think when you stand here, that's when you appreciate the people that are before you. And I've looked at colleague governors who are here and realized that we have a lot of potential, very serious people. Kenyans, those who voted for us did not make a mistake. 5 out of those who are seated here have been cabinet ministers. Some have served in very serious positions, including yours truly, Speaker Emeritus. Therefore, we are in this space to make a difference. And I was part of the team that started this in 2013, 2014. Surely we must now move from the stage of talking to implementation, so that people begin to see that we are making progress. We shall be remembered by what we achieve and not how long we have been there. I always quote this, that if I asked you the name of the person who lived longest in the Bible, I'm sure you don't remember, except very staunch Christians. He was called Methuselah. He lived for over 900 years, but you don't remember. Jesus Christ lived for only 33 years. And we remember his deeds for the Christians, what he's doing today. So what shall we be remembered for as leaders in this region for the period that we are there? This is what I'm saying, that yesterday we had a very good conversation. Today we are going to talk. So let us move from the talking stage to the implementation stage. I remember during my political science lessons, when OAU was formed, they said it became a club where tyrants met every year to say bye-bye to each other and welcome new ones. I hope that we will not be meeting here annually to say bye-bye to each other as others come in. but that will now implement all those pillars that we have talked about so that people of this region remember us for the space that we shall occupy today. So I don't want to take long. I want just to take this opportunity to invite my chair, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, to come and take us to the next stage. Thank you. Welcome, Professor.
My dear Vice Chair, Speaker Ken Lusaka, my colleague governors, my dear friend Teresia Mboka, who is the Senior Principal Secretary in the Office of the President, the Deputy President, and Minister of Devolution, 2 titles, in fact 3. Teresia said that she fell in love with the place and the people. I thought she was going to go further enough and said also with the guy next to me. You know, next this way. You remember where I pointed? Ladies and gentlemen, this summit has been a summit of many sayings. And I think one of us saying that when we come together, we can do a lot, which is true. One point, again, like yesterday I said, I was in a urinal in Makerere, and there was a saying on the wall saying, to come is wonderful, to come together is divine. Colleague governors, diplomats, our development partners, deputy governors, county assembly forum members, and all those present here today. I would like officially, as the chairman of the Lake Region Economic Bloc, to welcome you to the 11th summit of this bloc. This is the 2nd summit since I took over the chairmanship of the bloc from my former governor of Kakamega, the indomitable chair of chairs, His Excellency FPA Dr. Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, last November, who has been every succeeded by my dear friend who is sitting over there, Barasa. I wish to thank Migori Governor, His Excellency Dr. Tichilo Mbogo Ayako, Dr. Chilo Mbogo Ayako. In Loya you call it Tichilo, but in Loya you say Ochilo. So Chilo and Tichilo are the same name, so I didn't make a mistake. I would like to thank Uchila Yako for accepting to host us at this summit. It is not an easy thing to host a summit like this, but you dared host us, and it's been going on very well since we got here. We are happy with the hospitality accorded to us in Migori, and don't worry about the rain, because rain is always a sign of good omen, a sign that things will grow, and that what we say here will have meaning to our counties. As a Nelred family, we welcome all the colleague governors, diplomatic partners, various experts, university vice chancellors, and all experts assembled here today, that this meeting definitely is going to produce the seeds of which the rain came down. Let me also welcome you to Kisumu, the county that flies with the eagles. To those attending our summit for the first time, I would like to inform you that this is the first regional economic bloc to be established at the advent of devolution in the Republic of Kenya. Yesterday, we had a wonderful session during which we had deep debates and reflections on our ailing sugar industry and our health sector. Many of us were shocked at the fresh revelations of what is ailing the sugar industry. Panelists gave a clear prescription of the medicine that would cure the industry that supports nearly 8 million people in the Lake Region Economic Bloc. I really would like to thank the principal speaker yesterday, who gave a wonderful analysis of the sugar industry. We heard from the governors, industry players, and farmers. At the end of presentations, it was clear the future of the sugar industry in the Lake Region Economic Bloc lies squarely in our hands. And Senator Lusaka knows when it is said that something lies squarely in our hands. I see Fernandez smiling over there. Fernandez, the future is in your hand. You have to decide which hand. One outstanding message was that sugarcane, just like tea and coffee, must now be classified as food and not as a commodity. I want to assure this summit that we will accept the challenge and aggressively push for the required reforms in the industry. Indeed, we did say that we as governors will have to sit down with our experts, both in the national government and other bodies, and go through that report, the sugar report, which is the result of a committee chaired by Governor Oparanya and the former Minister of Agriculture. Ladies and gentlemen, I wish to share today that LREB holds the solution for the socio-economic woes facing this region. We have remained steadfast and united over the years as we pursue the main agenda. It's a love letter from somebody, I don't know. Yes, okay, fine. We have remained steadfast and united over the years as we pursue the main agenda for forming this bloc, which brings together the 14 counties. And in those 14 counties, ladies and gentlemen, I want to remind you that there are two important officers that lead these counties. The governors and the deputy governors with their county executives and the county assemblies that work together to lead our counties. And all those members that lead the counties are here today. I'd like to welcome in particular our deputy governors who are paraded here, those who are here and those who are not here, that we are in this together, and together we shall win. The establishment of LREB was advised by the need to sustainably harness shared natural resources among the evolved units that geographically neighbor one another. The decision to pick the blue economy and climate change as the running theme for this 11th summit of LREB was guided by the existence of these key water bodies, both rivers and lakes, that were already spoken about in the previous documentary and by the speakers this morning. Developing nations today have woken up the reality of existence of wealth, not only in the oceans, but also in inland waters, including rivers and ponds. These blue economy resources, if harnessed sustainably, can transform the livelihoods of communities that live within the Lake Victoria Basin, and indeed make them wealthy and abolish poverty. Sometimes some NGOs speak about poverty as if it is a permanent feature of human living. Poverty is just the absence of wealth. Once you discover how to create wealth and sustain that creation, poverty no longer becomes part of human society. You only need to go to China, a country of close to 1 billion people or more. You will not to go to any village in any remote part of China and find poor people. They have said goodbye to poverty because of the better organization of the economy and the prioritization of human social needs and material needs. Ladies and gentlemen, the utilization of blue economy resources without strict observance to their strategic management and biodiversity conservation may lead to extinction of some animal and plant species. And I was glad that Governor Orengo made that point in that documentary with regard to the intended use of Lake Kanyaboli for solar power production, that should not be done at the expense of the biodiversity and animal and plant species life. in that lake. Strategic management of these blue economy resources cannot be achieved without direct engagement of all stakeholders, especially the local communities who live around these resources and interact with them on a daily basis. As the local communities interact with these resources, we have a duty to develop policies and in fact legislation that control practices that may lead to destruction of the environment and encourage conservation as an enterprise to combat the adverse effects of climate change. Our coming together as counties in this 11th summit is therefore meant to forge strategic partnerships between the devolved units represented by LRED on the one hand, and the national government agencies and development partners on the other hand, that will enable us to lay a firm foundation for development in the region. I thank my sister Teresa for being here, so as the highest level of government may know that Lake Region Economic Bloc intends to work together with government to combat the necessary impediments to develop in our region. That is our mission. That is our vision. Indeed, the theme of this 11th summit crowns it all. Partnerships for sustainable development, country responses to blue economy and climate change adaptation. This 11th summit also comes at a time county governments are facing tough economic times due to delayed disbursements from the exchequer. I was shocked that the controller of budget could use the months of February and January to do an analysis of how much the counties depend on development, when she knew very well that in those months, the counties did not have any resources of national government to implement any development project. But recurrent expenditure is a must, because people must have salaries and they must feed families who participate in the economy in terms of buying consumer goods that reproduce that economy. So there's a circular economy here that cannot be ignored in comparing recurrent expenditure and development expenditure. This 11th summit also comes at a time when counties are working in their budgets for the next year. And therefore the decisions we make here will definitely influence the kind of budget we have in subsequent years, so that they can be realized, our aspirations can be realized. To survive these strategic economic challenges, we must use our synergies and explore alternative sources of income. It is envisaged that by the end of this summit, various groups and counties will come with strategic partnership agreements that will guide their strategic engagements going forward. And in this summit, we are people going to make representation here, like my friend Raju, on exactly what such partnerships mean in the context of the discussions we are going to have during this summit. We appreciate the development partners that have stood by our side this far and call upon more partners to join hands with us in supporting the execution of these strategic partnership agreements. Ladies and gentlemen, LRED is one of the most ambitious economic blocs in our country today. We have had a beautiful and ambitious roadmap. We have used the bloc to address very important emerging issues such as COVID-19 pandemic. And indeed, during COVID-19, our Council of Elders did provide advice on predicting COVID-19 occurrence. That was finally adopted by the national government as well. I especially want to commend LRED's team of eminent persons under the chairmanship of Professor Kamarogo for leading the fight against COVID-19 in this bloc, and therefore becoming a good example to emulate by the national government team that was predicting the occurrence of COVID. This team became a powerhouse, and their research findings on the pandemic were shared nationally and internationally. They played a fundamental role in taming the spread of the disease in the member counties. They have showed us what it takes to prepare for an epidemic and how to remain resilient. We've also done well in other pillars like education, water, environment, and climate change, infrastructure, and the production sector. In health, we have made significant achievements. In Kisumu, we have built a drone center with the help of an American company called Zipline. Governor Nyaribo, myself, and Governor Oparanya did visit Rwanda when we were looking at this Zipline. And we are convinced that the same thing can be done in Kenya. The drones that Zipline uses will be used to collect and deliver drugs, blood samples, and other health commodities. We envisage to us that this drone service in the entire Eldoret catchment area will be very useful. Indeed, it takes only 15 minutes to deliver blood samples or blood from Kisumu to Migori if you use drones. If you come by road, it will take you 2.5 hours, by which time the blood will have gone bad. So these drones are going to be very useful for healthcare in the region and also for veterinary care, among other things. They can also transport commodities like documents much faster than the post office. So we are going to arrange some time in the future for all governors in the Eldoret region to visit Zipline in January to see and know how the drone system works, because this thing was established in the interest of Eldoret, not just Kisumu County. However, as I said during the 10th summit, the biggest challenge now is how to address the bottlenecks threatening our dreams. Even as we strategize to push the LREP agenda, we must be honest with ourselves as member counties and accept that we are also not done very well in fulfilling our other mandates. I think we have not been very committed to LREP course, but we still have the opportunity to put the development of this block as one of our priorities. When I say we are not being very committed, I say there are a lot of things we should be committed to. Each one of us, and I'm not blaming anybody, I blame myself as well. And to blame is to accept a challenge, not to refuse to be challenged. I think you have not been very committed to health at that time, and I don't want to repeat that. Let us do so. Let us do so all together. As I said yesterday, and I will repeat, it's good to be together. And I will not repeat because Fernandez is looking at me. I say I'm going to repeat what I said yesterday, but I won't. County assemblies in the 14 counties were to pass legislation to help the bloc have a legal mandate. Today, only 9 out of the 14 county assemblies have debated and passed the Lake Region Economic Bloc Bill 2019 to give the bloc a legal entity. I request that I appeal to the other counties who have not domesticated the bloc as a legal entity in their counties to expedite the passing of this bill in the assemblies so that we are all at one par. This bill is important because it will clear the way for the county governments to make the required financial contributions to LREP. As your new chairman, now not so new, I request that we discuss this matter and understand why some of our assemblies have not passed the bill. Maybe it's a question of lacking information. Maybe it's a question of still wanting to have some support for their dear brothers and sisters in the bloc. I also request that we help strengthen the LREP Secretariat, which is hosted in Kisumu County. We shall continue hosting it. We shall continue bearing any burden that arises. But let us all be committed to our Secretariat, as you can see that their work helps us advance our development collectively and singly within the bloc. Besides commitment towards financial contributions around the office, let us also rethink about the staff secondment to run the Secretariat. I hope you know what that I mean. Those secondment must not those anybody is getting rid of, but those who are really, really committed to the future and mission of LREP. There are second competent and relevant personnel who will make a difference in the management of the affairs of the office. Let us also lobby our county assemblies, the county executives and our people to support this noble idea of working together within the region as an economic bloc. Let us put political affiliations aside for the sake of this economic entity. Other regional economic blocs such as the Frontier Counties, the Development Council, the North Rift Economic Bloc, the Jumuiya County at Pwani, the Southeastern Kenya Economic Bloc, and the Mount and the Bareas Regional Economic Bloc, may overtake us if we don't show commitment. At the moment, I am happy to say that we are doing our best, and what we have achieved, we could not have achieved without coming together. To come together is divide. We have been ahead of them, and we must maintain this position. The other big pending issue is to push the Senate to pass the County Resources Development Bill on regional economic blocks, which has been pending before the Senate since 2020. I hope before we finish our term this term, that this very important bill will be passed by the Senate. We should work together to ensure that that bill is passed. This bill, meant to give legal authority to the blocks, was presented by the then nominated Senator, Ms. Rose Nyamunga. She is no longer Senator. That doesn't mean that the mission she was fulfilling is no longer relevant. It's very relevant, and I hope we can get one of the senators to pick up the bill and make it a success to become into a law. I will personally push for the enactment of this bill